as well.
Okay, yeah. Here's a couple of things. One, site administrators leave our in-services energized as opposed to beat down and tired. So to me, that's huge in and of itself, and that's got to have spin-off when they get back to site. The other thing that I think I'm seeing evidence, I really hope to see, is that we are modeling the kind of leadership that we want to see at the school site. We want to see collaborative, professional learning community with the staff at the school site, because that's what makes the most productive teaching staff and instructional staff. And it's also the kind of thing that keeps teachers engaged and keeps them from leaving our district. And, you know, I spent a lot of years hiring teachers and trying to figure out why they were leaving kind of after we had gotten them up the learning curve and they just hit their stride as teachers. And frankly, through some of the surveys and interviews that I did, one of the biggest reasons in some cases was lack of administrative support. And so part of this effort is to try to get this same mutual respect and engagement at the site level. And you know, the vast majority of our site administrators were there anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's important to show that that is a value that we hold.
One of the things that's happened with this initiative, if you maybe even calling it an unintended consequence, was that as we really focused in on the leadership piece, what we found was that our principals, you know, when they're out in their village, they're isolated, the buck stops with them. They are, if there's a problem, no matter what time of day or night, no matter whether it's a weekend or a weekday, it goes to them. And so what we found was our site administrators become pretty overwhelmed because we're really focused on this instructional leadership. And we have what we call a funnel analogy, that it's like, and we talk to the people up here in the district office that, you know, just because the principal doesn't respond to you right away, you need to understand their perspective. And it's like, you've got all the district office sending information to the principal, and they are kind of the end of the funnel, and so all information was flowing through them. So one of the things that we've promoted and really started working with our principals on is the idea of shared leadership, and that you don't have to be the expert in everything, and to spread that across your staff. Find an expert in maybe the behavior, the CHAMPS program that we're using. Have someone on staff who can be the go-to person. Have someone on staff who can be the go-to person for RTI or for any of the other initiatives that we've got. I think that is starting to take hold, and it's we've really been promoting that with our site administrator groups, and it's what we've modeled here, and it's what we model in our departments here. Is you know I can't do it all for the academic program department, but I have great horsepower in that department, and so I really focus on letting them take some of those leadership roles. We do it with our principals, and now they're starting to do it with their staff. And so if you think of a change in the way we do business and the culture almost of LKSD, I think that is really starting to take hold, and people, our principals understand that, and they understand that if they can build that community and build those relationships with their staff, that it is going to make everyone's job easier, and at the end of the day, that impacts student learning. So that, I think that is one of the unintended consequences, was that principals were becoming even more overwhelmed than they already were, and so it's one of the ways we're trying to even that out a little bit.
Yeah. Were there any resources that you turned to? You mentioned the Results Now book. Were there any other kinds of websites or other books or resources or tools or anything that you turned to?
We attended the ASLI both years, so far, and I think we've picked up a lot from that. I think, just things you pick up as you go. Certainly, probably the greatest resource is the learning community itself. There is unbelievable expertise when all those people are in the room. They come from all different backgrounds and have just tremendous skills and knowledge, and if you can put it all together so it all adds synergistically, then you've got something that's pretty huge.
Dan, you mentioned earlier that you had to learn a new skill set of kind of running and preparing these in-services too. So I'm sure there's resources that you look to there to help you.
And the ASLI has helped me tremendously, but we've had a 2.5 year kind of work on the coaching, mentoring piece, where we've got folks in our department who are getting the same training as the state coaches and mentors are doing. They're going to Fairbanks this year. They've gone several times to get that same training, and in that whole process, you learn more and more skills about how to run those types of meetings, and it's really stretched me in the sense that I've had to learn new skills on how to engage the group, because a lot of the instructional stuff, it falls to me to be able to present it. And I know that when I get in that group of principals, if I'm not on my game and if I don't have it on, I'm going to get my head handed to me on a platter. Yeah. And Gary and Carlton tease me about, it's like we're just going to put a kick me sign on your forehead. And it's happened a time or two, but it's part of the whole experience and learning and growing from it. And I don't mind when we get in those meetings. It really is, there's no power play. It's if something's not working, tell us. Let's solve the problem together. Yeah. And it's all focused on student achievement and how can we go about at the end of this student's career having the best, well-rounded kids come out of our schools as possible. And so the egos go away.
Yeah, check your ego at the door and focus on the mission.
That sounds like being very honest and transparent too.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say
it's all built on trust, and if you're not, you don't build that trust.
Right. Good. Did you? Question here is: did you use any other leaders to ensure successful implementation?
Well, we've involved folks from the Department of Academic Programs, ed specialists and curriculum specialists, and they've been a pretty integral part in this latest effort we've had to develop a vision for our instructional design or redesign, I guess you could say. There's tremendous expertise there, and then Gail Miller, our curriculum director, is just a great wealth of information. So it's all part of the team.
It really is a team atmosphere, a team approach, and I know I don't have all the answers, but I know that I've got tremendous resource people around me that I can go to, and we put our heads together and we brainstorm and we problem solve, and we do the same thing with the principals, and it's all focused on what we can do different to make our schools better.